Chosen one, stop scrolling immediately. I am not asking for your attention. I am commanding it. Do not move past this message. This is not some random event, and the algorithm absolutely did not bring you here. God intercepted your feed today because you are standing at the exact threshold of a permanent timeline shift. What I am about to reveal was sealed in the throne room of heaven until this very second. The enemy is working overtime to distract you right now. He is hoping you will swipe away. He knows that if you hear this message, his hold over your life breaks completely. If you leave before the end, you will forfeit the exact prophetic instruction. Lock your attention right now. The verdict on your next 10 years is about to be read. You have a power inside you that is entirely too dangerous for the Matrix to ignore, and that is exactly why your life has felt like a relentless battlefield. The universe had to train you in absolute darkness before releasing you into the light. Listen to me very closely right now. That heavy, suffocating feeling in your chest is not normal. The nights you wake up at 3 a.m. with your jaw tight and your heart racing, you think it is just stress. You think you are losing your mind. But that physical weight you feel is your highly advanced spirit detecting a massive shift. That burning exhaustion sitting behind your eyes is real. It is your physical body absorbing the frantic energy of the enemies who just realize they cannot break you. You are not crazy, and this is not a medical condition. You are enduring the physical toll of a spiritual war that you are currently winning. They tried to label you as broken. They told you that you were just too sensitive or too emotional. But your sensitivity was never a weakness. It was a highly calibrated radar designed to detect the lies they tried to hide. Your body reacts because it refuses to accept the toxic programming of the people around you. You have been fighting battles in absolute silence. You thought nobody noticed your tears when you were completely alone. You thought nobody saw how you held your integrity when they lied on your name. But you were wrong. Someone deeply powerful has been quietly watching your resilience in the dark. You were isolated for a very specific reason. God had to pull you away from the crowd because your frequency was too pure to be contaminated by their hidden agendas. They called you the black sheep. They made you feel like you did not belong anywhere. But you were never meant to fit into a system that is actively decaying. Your isolation was not a punishment. It was a divine incubation period. You were placed in the crucible because a weapon of your magnitude must be forged in extreme heat. The universe stripped away every false friend and every toxic attachment so you could learn how to stand entirely on your own. Look back at the past few years. The betrayals and the constant delays were not bad luck. They were a highly orchestrated training regimen. You had to learn how to walk through the fire without letting it burn your soul. And while they expected the fire to destroy you, it actually purified your power. Now, I need you to imagine this exact scenario. The people who abandoned you are starting to notice something terrifying. They expected your departure to break you completely. They waited with bated breath for you to fail. Instead, you walked out of their toxic matrix and you began to glow. You carry a specific and irreplaceable gravity that makes time itself look like a fool. You did not just survive their storm, you became the sun. And every time your name comes up in their circles, it hits them with the agonizing weight of their own massive mistake. The pain in your shoulders is the weight of the old timeline falling off. You have carried the burdens of everyone around you for far too long. You were the emotional stabilizer for people who refused to heal themselves. But that contract is officially broken as of today. You are no longer the battery for their dysfunction. Heaven is stepping in to sever those cords completely. Your energy is returning to you right now. And as that energy floods back into your system, the physical symptoms will begin to vanish. You are stepping into a season of untouchable peace. Every tear you shed in secret has been collected as evidence. The courts of heaven have reviewed your case, and the gavel has already come down in your favor. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a demonstrated warrior of light who successfully navigated the most dangerous training ground on earth. If your spirit confirms this raw truth, gently press the like button to seal your energetic alignment with heaven. This simple physical act creates a shield around your frequency. It sends a direct signal to the universe that you are finally ready to claim your divine inheritance. Now let us go deeper, because what you are feeling right now is not new. You have spent your entire life pouring your pure energy into endless voids. You loved people who were completely incapable of loving you back. And when you finally needed them to support you, they conveniently disappeared into the shadows while you were left fighting alone. You were left holding the broken pieces. It is deeply unfair. They treated you like a human battery for their own survival. Every time they felt insecure or depleted, they would plug into your light. You gave them your time and your boundless empathy. But the moment their batteries were fully charged, they walked away without a second thought, because your usefulness to their ego had simply expired. They discarded you quickly. You are not a machine. This is exactly why your physical body is utterly exhausted today. The brain fog you experience is not a sign of aging or sudden cognitive decline. It is the heavy residue of dealing with emotional vampires who constantly gaslighted your reality. You wake up with that familiar knot in your stomach because your nervous system is still expecting an unpredictable attack from someone you trusted. Your body remembers the trauma. Your mind tried to forgive. But here is the raw truth they could never say out loud. Your current isolation is not a punishment for being unlovable. It is a highly specialized formation season designed by heaven itself. God had to empty your room completely because the people sitting at your table were quietly poisoning your future behind your back. He did not remove them because you failed. He removed them because they failed your test. You were born into a matrix that demands absolute conformity. Families and social circles operate on a shared delusion that you simply could not swallow. That is why they labeled you the black sheep so quickly. You were the only one willing to point out the massive elephant in the room, while everyone else pretended that their toxic behavior was perfectly acceptable. Your mere existence threatened their fragile lies. You were too awake. The generational patterns that plagued your bloodline end with you today. The cycles of poverty and the patterns of deeply broken relationships have no power here. You are the cycle breaker heaven has been desperately waiting for. You took the brutal hits so that the people who come after you will never have to know that specific agonizing pain. The universe chose you. You were strong enough to survive. You probably did not realize it at the time, but your silence was a lethal weapon. When you finally walked away and initiated no contact, you cut their oxygen supply. They expected you to fight back or beg for closure. Instead, you gave them absolute devastating silence, which completely destroyed the false narrative they were trying to build around your departure. You chose your dignity. You starved their demons. Now they are panicking because they cannot find another diamond like you. They are surrounded by cheap rocks and flying monkeys who only echo their toxic traits. They thought you were easily replaceable until they actually had to replace you. Now the specific gravity of their massive regret is hitting them all at once because they realize they threw away the only genuine light they ever held. They are utterly lost. You are entirely free. Stop waiting in wound for an apology that will never, ever come. A master manipulator will never take accountability for the blood on their hands. If you keep expecting closure from the person who broke you, you will remain trapped. The only closure you will ever need is the undeniable fact that they are fundamentally incapable of showing basic human decency to anyone. You do not need their validation. You are already whole. You were not the anomaly in someone's otherwise healthy and normal life. You were the terrifying mirror that reflected their deepest hidden insecurities. The reaction got this loud and this vicious because you got closer to their truth than anyone else. They viciously attacked your character because they were absolutely terrified of your pure authenticity and the way your light effortlessly exposed the rot they tried to hide. They hated your light. They feared your power. Every closed door was a divine intervention, masking itself as a painful rejection. You cried over losing jobs and people that were secretly destroying your cellular frequency. Heaven heard the conversations they were having about you behind your back. The universe orchestrated your sudden exit to protect you from a dangerous trap you could not see because you were looking through the lens of pure love. You were shielded by grace. It was never abandonment. You are standing in the sacred space between your painful past and your massive harvest. The exhaustion you feel today is simply the spiritual jet lag of jumping across timelines. You are shedding the heavy armor of the wounded healer. It is time to step fully into the role of the untouched, sovereign ruler of your own reality, because the days of playing small are officially over. Do not look back. The future is yours. Listen closely, because this is the exact part the enemy tried to hide from you. The pain was never meant to break your spirit or make you bitter. It was the intense friction required to activate a power you have carried since childhood. You are about to understand exactly why they tried so desperately to keep you completely in the dark while they secretly fed on your brilliant energy. This is your awakening. The truth is revealed. Here is what they never told you about your deep exhaustion. The reason the universe responds to certain people and not others is not faith. It is not discipline. It is a very specific brainwave frequency that your brain was running effortlessly when you were a child. Back then, ideas came easily, and the world felt entirely on your side. But then adulthood finally arrived. The modern world went to work on you immediately. The extreme stress and the survival routine trained you to conform instead of create. Every single year, this sacred frequency was suppressed a little further into the dark. It was pushed deeper and deeper below the surface until your natural genius was completely silenced. The Matrix did this on purpose. They feared your potential. When that frequency faded, your sharp intuition dulled. The divine synchronicities stopped happening, and you felt disconnected from your own power. The sense that the universe was working with you went completely silent. You felt it as a child, but it was taken from you without your consent. The version of you with lightning intuition was deliberately buried. You lost your magic. Most people will live their entire lives without ever knowing this happened to them. But you are not like most people. You are feeling the physical weight of this blocked cellular frequency right now. You watch others succeed effortlessly while you struggle, and you know deep down you carry a much higher potential. This is not a character flaw, it is a suppressed frequency. Let me completely reframe your reality right here and right now. The Matrix did not suppress your brainwave because you were weak. They engineered this frequency block because your pure, unaltered state is entirely too dangerous for them to control. If you had kept that childhood genius awake, you would have dismantled their entire system. You are a massive threat. They needed you exhausted, so you would never realize your own massive power. They drained your energy and surrounded you with emotional vampires to keep you trapped in survival mode. Because a chosen one in survival mode cannot access the throne room of heaven. They kept you busy fighting petty battles. They wanted you distracted, but their ultimate plan failed because you woke up. This is exactly where their entire manipulation miscalculated. They thought your exhaustion would break your spirit permanently. They expected the betrayals to carve deep, heavy wrinkles into your face and drain the life out of your eyes. Instead, you walked through the fire and you aged backwards. You are glowing with an energy they simply cannot understand or replicate. Nothing makes your enemies sicker than watching you step into a room completely unbothered. They spent years praying for your massive downfall. But while their bitterness and deep envy are aging them rapidly, the universe has completely reversed your biological clock. Your silent restraint was not a sign of weakness. It was a highly calculated weapon of divine destruction. You did not lift a single finger to defend yourself against their lies. You let them build a massive false narrative because a lie that big eventually crushes its creator. Your silence starved their demons and forced them to consume each other. Now they are drowning in the loud noise of their own making. They are frantically searching for a replacement for you. But they will quickly realize that your specific depth is utterly irreplaceable. You were the only one who could handle their darkness without losing your own light. And now that your light is gone, their entire toxic environment is collapsing from the inside out. They are experiencing a public and irreversible system crash, and you get to watch it happen from a safe distance. The dynamic has fundamentally shifted, and there is absolutely no going back to the way things were before. The very people they used to gossip with are now watching them unravel in real time. Their mask has completely shattered, and their true face is exposed. This is the divine justice heaven promised you. You did not have to seek revenge. The universe fought for you. You are no longer waiting in wound for an apology from a master manipulator. You have transcended their toxic matrix, and their desperate games no longer affect your cellular frequency. You are untouchable, and your enemies are painfully aware of this fact. But there is still one specific lock on your destiny that must be broken. The final piece of your spiritual inheritance is waiting. Stay with me, because this next revelation is the key to everything. You must understand exactly how to reclaim the frequency that was stolen from you. The elite want you to believe that your current struggles are just your destiny. But heaven is releasing a specific mandate to shatter that illusion. Do not turn away, because your massive breakthrough is approaching fast. Listen to me very carefully right now, because most people completely miss this shift. Heaven is now releasing 3 undeniable truths about the dangerous power you possess. You have carried this massive energy since you were born, but the Matrix tried to keep you entirely blind to your own capabilities because they knew you could dismantle their systems. The third truth is the most powerful revelation. Do not leave before you hear it. Truth number 1 is the lethal weapon of your absolute detachment. You always assumed your deep empathy was your greatest asset. You poured your energy into toxic people, hoping that your love would finally heal their brokenness and make them whole. But your true power activates the exact moment you completely pull your energy away. When you walk away in pure silence, you create a devastating spiritual vacuum. The narcissist literally cannot function without your light. They relied on your emotional reactions to constantly fuel their deeply fabricated and fragile reality. When you get angry and try to defend your character, you are simply handing them free energy to use against you. But when you offer them nothing but absolute silence, their entire system immediately malfunctions. They are forced to sit alone with the heavy spiritual consequences of their own toxic choices. Your silence is completely destroying them. Truth number 2 is your terrifying capacity for immediate spiritual discernment. The elite trained society to blindly accept surface-level lies. They want people to follow the script, without ever questioning the hidden motives that dictate their miserable lives. But your spirit was strictly designed to shatter those exact illusions before they take root. You can walk into a crowded room and instantly feel the hidden agendas hiding behind fake smiles because your cellular intuition cannot be fooled. You are incredibly dangerous to manipulators. They absolutely hate that they cannot deceive you like they deceive everyone else around them. You see straight through their carefully constructed masks. It makes their skin crawl with deep anxiety. They constantly try to gaslight you into doubting your own gut feelings because they are terrified that you have already figured out their darkest and most shameful secrets. Do not ever apologize for seeing the truth. Your intuition is an untouchable shield. Read that again in your spirit right now. If this is resonating with your cellular knowing, you must not move a single inch. The enemy is screaming at your left brain to swipe away from this video immediately because he is absolutely terrified of what happens next. He wants you to believe this is just another motivational speech. He needs you to stay entirely oblivious to this massive shift. You are currently downloading the exact frequencies required to permanently break the generational curses that have silently held your entire family back for decades. The people who hurt you thought they were teaching you a harsh lesson, but they accidentally activated the very power that will ultimately secure their public and irreversible downfall. They pushed you entirely too far. Now they must face the absolute consequences. Which brings us to truth number 3. This is the massive revelation you stayed here to receive. Truth number 3 is the undeniable power of somatic mirroring. You do not have to lift a single finger to extract your rightful vengeance against the narcissist. Your pure energy field acts as a flawless mirror that instantly reflects their dark intentions right back onto their own miserable lives. The universe is fighting this battle for you. Every time they try to send a spiritual attack your way, it simply bounces off your shielded frequency. It returns to them magnified and it shatters their foundation. You are literally untouchable as long as you maintain your absolute silence and refuse to engage with their endless toxic drama. This is exactly why they are currently unraveling in public. Their own toxic poison is slowly choking them. Your victory is mathematically guaranteed. You have finally become the uncertainty they were never built to handle. They wander around, looking for new victims, but nobody else possesses your specific diamond frequency. They are starving for the high-grade energy you use to provide them on a daily basis. And the harder they try to replace you, the more painfully obvious it becomes that you were entirely one of a kind. They are grieving a loss they caused themselves. Type 1111 in the comments if you feel the atmosphere rapidly shifting in your favor. This simple micro-commitment is a physical act that locks this powerful frequency firmly into your daily reality. You are no longer the frightened victim, waiting for a master manipulator to finally validate your worth and give you permission to shine. You are a sovereign ruler. The dark elite know this, and they are terrified. But you must remain incredibly vigilant during this highly sensitive spiritual transition period. The Matrix will try one last desperate maneuver to keep your true genius suppressed, because they know an awakened chosen one is a massive threat to their control. They want your brain fog to linger heavily. They want you to feel constantly exhausted and confused. Science just uncovered how they do it. Before we go any further, I must interrupt this transmission for something highly classified. What you are about to hear was never meant for the public. The Dark Elite never wanted you to find the exact mechanism I am about to show you. They relied on your spiritual exhaustion to keep you entirely manageable. But a leaked CIA document just exposed their deepest secret, revealing the exact method they used to steal your power. There is a physical reason your reality has not shifted yet, and science just uncovered exactly why. You are utterly exhausted because the Matrix engineered a specific frequency to suppress your brain. They intentionally blocked your natural wealth, attracting state. While you were busy fighting endless spiritual battles in the dark, they were actively using invisible systems to keep your mind trapped in survival mode. It is called the gamma wave. Princeton University studied this exact frequency and found it links directly to the genius abilities you had as a child. But the relentless stress of modern survival mode pushed that wave into complete dormancy. Your spiritual exhaustion requires a biological reset right now, and a team of dedicated neuroscientists just provided the ultimate blueprint. They compressed an entire hour of intense brain entrainment into a simple 7-minute audio track. You do not need years of painful therapy or expensive biofeedback machines. You simply put on your headphones and close your eyes. The sound wave synchronizes with your brain below the level of conscious awareness. It forces your mind back into synchronized gamma coherence, allowing your natural genius to easily rise to the surface once again. What if the massive delay in your blessing is simply a blocked cellular frequency? Heaven gave you the brilliant vision, but your physical brainwaves require this exact alignment to manifest it. The elites are absolutely panicking right now. They are frantically trying to scrub this suppressed weapon from the internet because it breaks their control over chosen ones like you. The Matrix is actively flooding the internet with dangerous and counterfeit frequencies. The fake versions on streaming platforms will severely lower your vibration instead of lifting it. You must protect your spiritual alignment immediately. The authentic and encrypted protocol is only available through the protected link in the description and the pinned comment below. Do not trust unverified sources trying to steal your pure energy. I will tell you exactly what this protocol is called before this message ends. But for now, just know that the tool to reactivate your genius is securely waiting for you. Now we must return to the massive collapse happening right behind your back, because the enemy is running completely out of time. I need you to imagine this exact scenario unfolding behind closed doors right now. The master manipulator is sitting in the absolute ruin of their own terrible choices. They thought they successfully buried your potential when they walked away. But every single day they wake up feeling the massive void where your pure energy used to be. They are literally starving. They try to plug into other people, but the frequency is completely wrong. It is like trying to run a supercomputer on cheap toxic batteries. Their system is loudly crashing, and their flying monkeys are starting to notice the erratic behavior. The mask is slipping in front of the exact people they desperately wanted to impress, and the humiliation is completely destroying their fragile ego. This is what happens when a massive lie finally collides with an unmovable truth. You did not have to defend your character or engage in their petty gossip. Your complete absence became the heavy gravitational force that is currently tearing their false reality apart. They are making frantic noise about you because your silence is absolutely deafening to their ego. Underneath all of that arrogant noise, the specific gravity of their regret is hitting them entirely, all at once. They know they threw away the only genuine diamond they ever held just to play with incredibly cheap rocks. But it is entirely too late for them to fix this massive error, because the spiritual eviction notice was signed the moment they chose to betray you. You are a cycle breaker, and your frequency is finally realigning with heaven. Let them drown in the toxic matrix they fought so hard to build. You are currently stepping into a season of explosive abundance and untouchable peace, but your left brain will try to inject deep doubt right now, desperately attempting to convince you that this massive shift is simply too good to be true. Silence that inner accuser immediately. That hesitation is the exact matrix programming designed to keep you broke and utterly exhausted. If your spirit is vibrating with a cellular knowing right now, you must prepare for the final instruction. Heaven is about to hand you the exact key to lock in your permanent victory, so do not look away for a single second. Listen to me very closely right now, because the atmosphere is shifting. The narcissist originally thought your quiet retreat was simply a temporary emotional phase. They assumed you would eventually break down and come crawling back to beg for a place at their toxic table. But weeks turned into months, and your profound silence only grew completely deafening. They are realizing with terror that you are never coming back. This brings us to a critical distinction that eludes the majority of people. Your absolute absence created a massive spiritual vacuum inside their fragile reality. They spent years relying entirely on your bright energy to validate their twisted sense of self-importance. Now they are trapped in a cold room with their own miserable demons, and they are utterly starving. Your pure light was their only warmth. Watch what happens next, because it is mathematically precise. They are currently losing sleep while you are resting in perfect divine alignment. They wake up shivering at 3 a.m. because the spiritual cord connecting them to your massive energy supply was violently severed. They reach out in the dark, hoping to siphon your power, but they grab absolutely nothing from the empty air. The backlash is hitting them hard. Pay close attention to this next part because the enemy tried to hide this. The people they used to gossip with are finally starting to see the truth. Their loyal flying monkeys are slowly waking up from the toxic spell. They notice the frantic energy and the constant bitter complaining about you. The master manipulator is desperately trying to maintain control over the group, but their mask is slipping entirely off. Their kingdom is falling. They cannot stop talking about you because their massive ego is deeply wounded. They frantically try to convince everyone around them that they are perfectly fine and thriving without you in their life. But every single word that leaves their mouth is heavily laced with pure venom. That venom is just thinly veiled panic, masking their absolute terror. They know they pushed a true diamond completely away. They are obsessively checking, but they find absolutely no cracks in your beautiful armor. While they are aging rapidly in their bitterness, you are literally aging backwards. You are carrying a specific radiant glow that completely baffles their extremely shallow minds. They genuinely expected you to look completely drained and permanently broken after the vicious betrayal you suffered at their hands. Instead, you stepped into absolute power. You are entirely unbothered. This is exactly where the cosmic justice begins to heavily accelerate. You never had to plot revenge or try to publicly expose their terrible actions. Heaven took over the battle the exact second you decided to fully unplug your pure energy from their toxic and draining matrix. God is systematically removing every false pillar holding up their massive ego. Their life is hitting unexplainable roadblocks. They are losing. Read that again in your spirit right now. They are completely losing their grip on reality because they cannot control you anymore. The master manipulator relies entirely on fear and predictable reactions to maintain their absolute dominance over the people they abuse. But you gave them absolute devastating silence instead. You handed the final verdict to a divine court they simply cannot bribe or appeal. Their punishment is arriving right now. Now I need you to brace yourself for the ultimate revelation. The internal system crash they are experiencing in private is about to violently spill over. It is no longer happening safely behind closed doors, where nobody else can see the raw and ugly truth of their completely shattered confidence. The intense pressure is building to an absolute boiling point inside their chest. They are a walking time bomb of deep regret. The explosion is entirely public. Type 777 in the comments if you can feel their walls closing in. This is the exact moment the tide permanently turns in your favor. You survived the brutal formation season, and you managed to keep your heart incredibly pure, despite every single thing they did to destroy your light. Heaven is preparing a table for you in the very presence of your enemies. You are about to witness the spectacular collapse of the person who tried to bury you. Do not look away. The universe never forgets a single tear that falls from the eyes of a chosen one. Every drop of your pain was carefully weighed and converted into divine ammunition. The person who treated you as completely replaceable is currently stepping onto a stage they simply cannot escape because the universe is forcing them to publicly answer for their crimes. They thought they were the smart director of this toxic play, but they are just a terrified pawn. The spotlight is on them. There is a massive reason your breakthrough has been sitting at the door without coming in. It is not a lack of faith. It is a specific, suppressed signal. Your left brain, the accuser, will try to inject deep doubt right now. It will tell you to completely hesitate and wait. Silence that inner demon immediately. That hesitation is the exact matrix programming designed to keep you totally broke. If your spirit is vibrating with a cellular knowing right now, heaven demands immediate obedience. A team of dedicated neuroscientists finally compressed an entire gamma activation protocol into a simple 7-minute audio track. You simply close your eyes and let the sound wave do what the modern world spent decades successfully undoing. It is called the Genius Song. Over 18,000 chosen ones have already used it. They use this exact tool to unlock their massive finances and heal their completely broken relationships. A nurse from California said her life now feels beautifully enchanted. The dark elite have paid thousands of dollars for clinical sessions to access what this track delivers in mere minutes. They would highly prefer this frequency remain entirely out of reach for powerful people like you. They are absolutely terrified of an awakened chosen one. Do not look for this track on streaming platforms because the copies circulating there are diluted counterfeits designed to keep you trapped. The only authentic and fully activated version of the Genius Song is available right now. You can claim it through the protected link in the description and the pinned comment below. The universe does not require you to take a single risk today. You are fully insulated by an ironclad divine guarantee. If you do not feel the massive shift you deserve, every penny returns to you without question. This is a pure, energetic exchange governed by complete and absolute trust. 4 powerful divine bonuses are waiting for you as well when you step through this open door today. Do not wait for a better moment to claim your massive inheritance. The chosen one who hesitates at the threshold becomes the chosen one who deeply wonders what could have been. The dark elite are actively trying to scrub this leaked document from the internet as we speak. Click the specific link in the pinned comment below right now. Activate your true frequency before access is revoked forever. Now, I need you to picture the exact moment your complete vindication finally arrives. While you are stepping into your untouchable, ageless glow, your enemy is stepping into their own personal hell. But here is the massive turning point where everything finally exploded in their face. It happened in front of the very people they used to constantly gossip with. The mask completely shattered. They were sitting in a crowded room, desperately trying to project their fake happiness. One of their loyal flying monkeys casually brought up your name to mock you. They expected the master manipulator to laugh and eagerly join the toxic conversation like they always did before. But the laughter never came. Instead, a heavy and suffocating silence violently took over the entire room. The narcissist abruptly slammed their hands on the table and their face completely contorted in sheer panic. They aggressively defended your character in front of everyone who ever doubted your pure light. They told their own followers to keep your sacred name out of their filthy mouths. The entire room froze in absolute terror because nobody had ever seen them completely lose control like this. They were practically screaming about how much they deeply regretted losing you. Tears of raw, pathetic desperation were streaming down their face for everyone to clearly witness. They openly confessed that driving you away was the biggest massive mistake of their entire miserable life. The flying monkeys stared in absolute shock as their fearless leader crumbled into a pathetic, broken mess. Underneath all of that terrible noise, the specific gravity of their massive regret hit them all at once. They finally realized in public that your pure silence did not just hurt their fragile pride. Your absolute absence permanently ended their toxic reign and destroyed their completely fabricated reality. They are now deeply drowning in the undeniable truth that you were the only real diamond. They tried to play with cheap rocks, and they lost their only true treasure. You won this massive war without ever lifting a single finger to defend yourself. Your silent restraint signed their spiritual eviction notice and handed the final verdict to a divine court they cannot ever appeal. Let them choke on the bitter ashes of the empire they burned down with their own greedy hands. Which brings us to the final, undeniable verdict from heaven. You walked into this season bleeding from deep wounds inflicted by people utterly blind to your worth. They expected you to stay trapped in that victim state forever. But look at you now. You are no longer waiting in wound for an apology from a master manipulator. You have completely transcended their toxic matrix. While they are publicly unraveling, you are stepping into your permanent and untouchable, ageless glow. The financial struggles and the spiritual exhaustion are all shattering right here and right now. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the architect of a massive generational shift. Step into your absolute power and receive the exact harvest heaven prepared for you. The universe put you through that intense training regimen because you were destined to lead the remnant. The darkness you endured was simply the heavy soil required to grow a massive diamond. You survived the unvivable. And you did it without compromising the beautiful purity of your spirit. That is exactly why heaven trusts you with this dangerous power today. Your heart remains incredibly soft, but your boundaries are now made of solid steel. The enemy can no longer manipulate your deep empathy to drain your sacred energy reserves. You have finally learned how to properly wield the lethal weapon of your absolute silence. Every door that was violently slammed in your face is now being replaced by massive open portals. Do not look back at the people who could not appreciate your brilliant light. They were merely temporary actors, hired to push you onto your true divine path. Their contract in your life has completely expired. You owe them absolutely nothing. You do not owe them an explanation, and you certainly do not owe them your precious forgiveness. Heaven has already settled the score. You are stepping out of the brutal formation season and walking directly into the season of explosive abundance. The tears you cried in secret have watered the massive seeds of your incoming harvest. Every single thing the Matrix tried to steal from your bloodline is being violently returned to you. The return comes with massive multiplication. You are completely restored. God does not measure your faith by your anxious thoughts. He measures your faith by your speed of obedience. The window of explosive multiplication is standing wide open right now, but it requires a physical anchor on Earth to activate. You must prove to the universe that you are finally ready to receive your massive blessing. You must take a physical action to seal this truth. Say this out loud with me right now. I claim my permanent freedom. Let the sound of your voice completely shatter the remaining invisible chains holding you back. You are a demonstrated warrior of light. You are a diamond that simply cannot be broken or replaced. Now you must permanently anchor this massive energetic shift into your physical reality before you leave. Type the words "I am free" in the comments below right now. This is not just a simple comment. It is a sacred physical oath between you and the universe. By typing those exact words, you are officially closing the door on your painful past. You are sealing your divine protection and locking your powerful frequency away from the dark elite forever. Share this specific message with one soul who is desperately crying out in the dark for a massive shift. Be their guiding angel today. There is another chosen one out there who feels completely isolated, and they need to hear this exact prophetic instruction. Send this transmission to them and help build the powerful remnant that will ultimately destroy the matrix. Subscribe to this sanctuary so you never miss the exact prophetic instruction heaven releases next. You need a safe harbor where your spiritual intelligence is validated instead of constantly questioned. We are gathering the cycle breakers from all over the world to unite our dangerous power. Drop your city and nation in the comments so we can map where the remnant is rising. You are no longer fighting these massive battles completely alone. You are surrounded by an army of anointed ones who deeply understand your exact pain. The days of feeling completely misunderstood and chronically exhausted are officially over. You have found your true spiritual tribe. We see your pure light, and we honor the heavy sacrifices you made to keep it shining brightly. Let the master manipulator drown in the toxic poison of their own making. Their public collapse is not your problem to solve. Your only responsibility now is to enjoy the incredible feast heaven has prepared for you in the presence of your enemies. Sit at the table and eat your well-deserved harvest. The war is completely over. You emerged entirely victorious. Rest your weary soul tonight, chosen one. The heavy lifting is done, and the divine verdict is permanently sealed in the courts of heaven. Your enemies are defeated, and your frequency is fully restored. Walk forward into your ageless glow, and never look back at the darkness again. The universe is entirely yours to command.